Ladies and gentlemen, this is awesome. Huge news, breaking news. Trump taps JEANINE PIRRO for top D.C. prosecutor job. This is the job that Ed Martin was supposed to have, but didn't get the support from Tom Tillis. Now you have ABC News. Trump appoints Fox News host JEANINE PIRRO as top prosecutor in D.C. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. This is, in many ways, even better than Ed Martin. You're going to have President Trump clean and drain and reform a very corrupt one-party establishment swamp. This, ladies and gentlemen, should be applauded by everyone. The left should as well, which is hilarious why they wouldn't. I guess they enjoy the authoritarian, despotic, tyrannical bureaucracy, Byzantine bureaucracy that benefited both never-Trump Republicans and Democrats for so long. Hit subscribe to this channel. Check this out. This is the new top prosecutor in D.C. Cleaning house very soon.
Let me talk about that. Have you for years, since 2018, since this investigation started, everyone kept saying, why is this being slow walked? Why is this taking so long? I could have written up the indictment, and I've said this many times before, the gun charges and the tax evasion charges in 3.5 minutes, okay? The reason they slow walked this, it's not even an indictment, it's 2 misdemeanors and a non-charged gun case. That's not even being charged. Right. They're giving him 2 years stay out of trouble and we'll dismiss it completely, is because they wanted the statute of limitations to run. And they did. And the statute of limitations ran, ergo he owes no money in back taxes. They hide all of the foreign lobbying, all of the, lobbying without being registered, all the money laundering, all the organized criminal enterprise, gone. Statute of limitations, you can't even look at it.
Shapley said, 14-year veteran, spoke to CBS News and John Solomon and Fox News, based on my experience, if this was a small business owner or any other non-connected individual, they would have been charged with felony counts.
They not only would have been charged, they would have served their time in jail and been out already. That's how crazy this is.
Okay, now let's go to the money. So Joe Biden leverages $1 billion in Ukraine to get a prosecutor fired when he's VP.
Right.
Now, this is his time as VP. This goes to the heart of the 1023 allegation.
Exactly.
Okay. Where we have a credible FBI source that was paid hundreds of thousands of dollars by the FBI.
Right.
All right. So he says, you're not getting the $1 billion, our money, unless you fire that prosecutor. Mm-hmm. Okay. You have 6 hours to do it. Son of a bee, they fire him, to quote Joe.
That's his quote.
Okay. And then guess what? Hunter continues to be paid for work that he admitted on Good Morning America he had no qualifications for.
The amazing part of it is what we are seeing in action is a president of the United States all wrapped up in the American flag dictating that a prosecutor be fired. The prosecutor is investigating Hunter's business. And ironically, now with this 1023, which is unclassified, which Christopher Wray, the head of the FBI, didn't even want to give us an unclassified document, makes it clear that they've got tapes where the guy who is running the company is saying, I'm giving you $5 million, I'm giving your father I'm giving the two of you $5 million each. Right. And I'm keeping a tape recording of this because I want to make sure I get my money's worth.
I want those tapes.
We want those tapes. Why is Christopher Wray still the head of the FBI?
All right.
This, ladies and gentlemen, and God bless her, is the new top prosecutor in Washington, D.C. She perfectly summarized exactly what was going on within the Democratic Party and within Washington. They covered for Hunter. These are the Democrats that talk about democracy, and they talk about the system being unfair and unjust to a great many Americans. And then they preemptively pardon everyone around Biden, Falsey, Schiff, the January committee. They preemptively pardoned them, which is unconstitutional in many ways. There's never been this type of preemptive pardon ever, 10 years prior for any possible crime, without any hint, by the way, of any prior guilt or a conviction or some kind of scandal that the media talked about, just a blanket pardon for anything and everything everyone around Biden did. And then these are the Democrats that talk about authoritarianism and tyranny. Okay, they don't even have functioning primaries. You could ask Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden. You won't get much of an answer from either of them. But let's continue.
And they're going to end up, getting it removed. It's an impediment going forward. Not this case. We won't even know what his sentence would have been. And then for him to call out the media, and selective prosecution is absurd. A jury found him guilty. Are you saying that you don't believe in the jury system anymore, Mr. President? And by the way, is your son stupid? He pled guilty to 6 tax evasion counts. So if that's selective prosecution, why didn't he take it to trial and say, this is a selective prosecution?
So what they're actually guilty of, they accused Trump of doing, and what took place was they're the ones who engaged in bribery and graft. They're the ones who had a laptop full of bribery and graft. We couldn't talk about it because 50 intel officials lied about its origins. Of course, it was always Hunter's. But we were censored and silenced, and Democrats use bureaucracy to act in a despotic manner. Emanates in Washington, D.C., emanates with the origins of this type of authoritarianism. You have never Trump Republicans, the old Republican Party and the Democratic Party, and they unite to promote and to keep intact the status quo, a very corrupt bureaucratic system of government, a very corrupt, if you want to call it swamp, but a very corrupt DC establishment. So suddenly, Nancy Pelosi's stock picks, which are almost always perfect, never get investigated. Hunter Biden and Hunter wasn't even really the main issue here. It was Joe Biden engaging in bribery and graft. That's why he preemptively pardoned everyone, because he essentially preemptively pardoned himself, or pardoned himself by preemptively pardoning everybody. There was obvious bribery and graft. And just like the country saw that Biden couldn't function, didn't have, he was one fry short of a Happy Meal, and finally they, cheated him in the primary after saying that he was the most popular candidate of all time. Everybody on the planet knew there was graft and bribery going on. Everybody on the planet knew that the laptop was part of the Biden potential bribery scheme, just like the foundation that the wonderful Clintons have, and a whole bunch of other Pelosi stock picks, the foundation, Hunter's laptop, the DNC emails. I mean, you can look. It's like they focus on Trump. Trump doesn't have a laptop. They went after the Trump's foundation for something that was like nothing compared to $1 billion in Haiti that was lost. Okay, more than that. Uranium One deal. We can go on forever. Then you have Biden forcing out a prosecutor. Okay, in another country. That's not American foreign policy. President Obama never told him to do that. We know. And so you have all the leverage, and then he was impeached. So Trump was impeached. And had we known about the Hunter laptop, he wouldn't have been impeached the first time. But anyway, let's continue.
So, look, it's all about Joe Biden lying. He's starting and ending his presidency in the same way.
And Charlemagne, the God, said this today, Jessica, if you had play that for everyone.
I just want Democrats to stop acting like they are on this moral high ground politically when they have shown us that.
And what did Biden say to Charlemagne the God when he first was running? Let's continue real quick.
This president had been working with them and had already given them 15 boxes that the media kept saying they were retrieved. But you know what? The National Association of Records Archives, National Archives Records Administration, wrote a letter saying, we obtained the cooperation of Trump representatives to locate records not transferred to the National Archives. They admitted, when they kept saying, the media kept saying, oh, Trump didn't want to give them the records. Trump said, hey, look, I'm working with you. They gave him a letter saying, yeah, he was cooperating with us.
And this is the new top prosecutor in D.C. God bless her. She is awesome.
Yes.
She is awesome, ladies and gentlemen. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Great, fantastic news.